We apologize for the low quality of this episode. We weren't using our high-tech camera at this time, but hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the B Movie Club. This week we'll be talking about the 1980 horror slash comedy classic Motel Hell. I know a lot of you are less than familiar with this movie, but let me tell you, it is a classic. Before we start discussing that, I want to remind you, B Movie Club is a place where we can talk about those movies that we don't talk about as often, the forgotten classics, maybe those movies that we liked when we were younger and just haven't thought about lately. It is, people are asking me, why are all your movies from the 80s? They don't have to all be from the 80s. It's just, I don't know. Maybe that was my childhood and that was when I first really started to enjoy watching these movies. So, not opposed to the 90s, not opposed to the 70s or the 60s. So, keep those suggestions coming and we'll start fitting those in. Before we talk about Motel Hell, I have to say, earlier this week, I had the horrible misfortune of watching Howard the Duck from 1986. I don't know if any of you have run into that particular one. It was with Leah Thompson. It was directed with George Lucas. Horrible. Horrible, horrible. It basically was foreshadowing of those horrible George Lucas movies. Was it episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I mean, oh Lord. When they made that movie, Howard the Duck, it basically pushed George Lucas practically into bankruptcy. He had to sell off some of his properties. And one of those properties became Pixar. So, bad move there. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Motel Hell. It is a story of this out of the way motel that also happens to sell beef jerky. We think it's beef, and that's the mystery of it. It's run by Farmer Vincent and his sister Ida, and let's just say they have their own way of preparing the meat. Okay, so they pick off unsuspecting travelers, and they become one of the main ingredients. Good times. So there's some scenes about a secret garden. I'm not going to spoil them, but let me tell you, shocking imagery. Shocking. This movie was originally supposed to come out in 1978, but they had trouble finding a company that wanted to distribute it, a company that even wanted to make it. At one point, Universal was attached, and Tobe Hooper, who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist, was scheduled to direct it, but he pulled out when the studio dropped out. So United Artists went and picked it up. It's actually a comedy, strangely enough. It really is. And a lot of the ideas behind it, obviously, are a bit of a homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What else can I tell you about it? I mean, the cast, a little shaky. Some people you might recognize. John Ratzenberger, Cliff Clavin has a cameo in it. Wolfman Jack plays a evangelist in it. So, it's quality. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 69%, which is, that's passing grade, right? That'll almost get you a C, right? It is available on Netflix, not instantly. You have to wait for it to come in the mail, but you can watch it there. That's how I watched it. Next week, we're going to go back to comedy. We're going to be discussing Weird Science, a little more mainstream than Motel Hell, to say the least. So I'm looking forward to that. You can reach me on Twitter to send any comments or suggestions. I'm also on Facebook. Love to hear from you. And as we've been doing, to end every show, I take one quote from the movie that I found interesting or fun. And for this movie, it takes all kinds of critters